Yo, what is up guys? Ethan here back with another video, and today we return with college football, as today we'll be talking about week 3 and the recap of all the main games. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Now before I do hop into this, I do want to talk about something about my personal life that could affect the channel. So if you're not interested in that, just skip to around like a minute ahead, but if you are interested, here you go. I'm sorry I haven't been able to post any videos. I just have been busy. I tried to post a week 2 recap, as the Marshall thing just shocked me. But I just really didn't have time. I was super busy. But this past Friday, I was playing basketball with my friend, and somehow, some way, I fractured my left wrist, my right elbow, and potentially even my left elbow. So it is super hard to do anything. I can't even eat for myself. I had to use my Apple thing to cut out these players, and I had to go through Drive. So if the graphics aren't as good and if the editing is not as good, I'm sorry. I'm just trying the best I can in my current situation. I'm just trying to produce the best content I possibly can for y'all in my current state. So I'm just going to give y'all FYI. I'm not sure how many videos I will be able to produce in this time, but weekly recaps will be happening. So if I don't have a video this upcoming week, my next video will be a week 4 recap. So that's just a FYI for all of y'all. But let's hop into into this recap. My bad. But the main thing I do want to talk about is, well, the first thing I want to talk about at least is this Sun Belt. The Sun Belt had the biggest W of all of last week in week 2, as week 2 was absolutely crazy. Marshall went into South Bend and defeated Notre Dame. App State went into Texas A&M and defeated the Aggies, and Georgia Southern went into Lincoln and defeated the Huskers. And 2 of those 3 teams lost, and one won crazily. Let's talk about the only winner in that, and App State. After their phenomenal win, College Game Day went to Boone, North Carolina. They had all the hype in the world, and Troy made it a good game. And I thought Troy was going to get absolutely blown out, but Troy came to play and made this game close. And down to the final seconds, they even had the lead 28-26. And then App State, off a miracle play, got a touchdown as the clock expired and defeated the Trojans 32-28. Phenomenal game from the Mountaineers. But the other 2 of those big-time Sunbelt teams lost this past weekend. Let's start off with Georgia Southern first. They went last week and defeated Nebraska. This week they had to go down to UAB. They lost to the Flames. I forgot their name. Crap, my bad. But UAB won that game 35-21, and Georgia Southern is still a good team, but UAB is just a little bit better. But the main upset was a Marshall. They had to go to Bowling Green. Bowling Green the past week lost in like 7 overtimes to Eastern Kentucky. They went to overtime and lost 34-31. Marshall looked phenomenal the past week at Notre Dame. And then the next week, another road game. This is a trap game, lost to Bowling Green. Now, personally, I'm always higher on Bowling Green than most people, especially in the MAC. And I thought this game was going to be a tad closer than people anticipated. But I think nobody expected Marshall, after the big win last week, to lose to Bowling Green. Absolutely crazy. The biggest game of this past weekend was definitely Miami at Texas A&M. Miami's been a little iffy this year, but they've gotten and they've looked really good. And Texas A&M, of course, as everybody knows, they lost to App State last weekend. But Texas A&M put on a show and beat Miami 17-9 at home. A lot more low scoring than I anticipated. But to be honest, Miami just kept killing themselves, to be honest. The special teams was horrendous. They were not good on third down. The red zone calling was awful. Texas A&M just got lucky in this game, in my opinion. And personally, I still think Miami's the better team, but this Texas A&M crowd was absolutely electric. That played a huge factor. And then the coaching for Miami was very inconsistent and iffy. So even though I think Miami may have the overall better talent, Texas A&M got Miami on a good day. Texas A&M got a little bit more things clicking for them as they survived at home. And hopefully this does have a little bit more momentum for Texas A&M as they do get into the conference play. The second biggest game this weekend, in my opinion, was Michigan State versus Washington. Well, this is the third biggest game I anticipated this upcoming weekend. And Washington put on a show. If you've been a member of this channel for a while, you know when that 2020 Indiana team started rolling around, I was on the Michael Penix hype train as I was hyping it up even before the season even started. And even though I'm not a Washington fan, it's just so good to see Michael Penix back doing great things at Washington, as Washington did defeat Michigan State 39-28. Peyton Thorne was really good this game, but that defense for Michigan State was absolutely horrendous. And Washington, that passing attack is lethal. Kalen DeBoer is doing a lot more than I thought he would at Washington. And if you do not have Washington in your top 25s, you are kind of crazy. Michigan State's defense has got to be improved. And even though Peyton Thorne had a really good game with like Keon Coleman and other wide receivers, that rushing attack was non-existent. I'm not even sure if they had more than 2 yards per carry for his entire team from Michigan State. Horrendous showing for Michigan State. I don't know if they're going to fall out of the top 25, but they're going to be around that 24th spot as Washington will be ahead, and hopefully I hope Minnesota is going to be ahead of them as well. I will talk about Minnesota quickly. They absolutely obliterated Colorado, and Mo Ibrahim is that guy. Over 200 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. I already knew he was going to be great after the Ohio State game last season. And Minnesota right now looks like the clear front runner to win the Big Ten West. For me as an Oregon fan, the game I anticipated the most was the Byu Oregon game. And Oregon came to play. And I thought it was going to be a very close game and Oregon would barely pull away. Oregon said no, they went full throttle, pedal to the metal this entire game. BYU really never had a shot. The rushing attack for Oregon, as they had like 4 different running backs playing. Byron Cardwell was out for this game, but you had Bucky Irving, Sean Dollars, Jordan James, the true freshman, looked really impressive as well, and Noah Whittington. There's so many good running backs at Oregon, and all of them played really well. Troy Franklin was making some big-time plays. I think we know all the play that I'm talking about. But Oregon, maybe it was just a fluke or Georgia's just that good, because I think Oregon, as of right now, is definitely a top 20 team. BYU, I was really high on, but after this game, I'm having some question marks about BYU. They did have injuries, though. I will give them that. Kansas. Where did Kansas come from? They went on the road to Houston and defeated the Cougars 48-30. This is like the first time since 2008-07 since Kansas has started 3-0. Lance Leopold is doing great things with this Jayhawks team. And as you saw my predictions, even though the record didn't show it, I knew Kansas was going to be close in a lot of these games. And this dude, Jalen Daniels, is an absolute beast at quarterback. But I think absolutely nobody in college football anticipated this Kansas team to start out 3-0. And it's just weird to say Kansas has the chance to make a bowl game this year. And this is absolutely crazy. And I hope Kansas is ranked. So we'll see. They probably will be out after this video is out. So yeah. Kansas is looking great. Houston, though, I have a lot of concerns about this Houston team. You just lost to Texas Tech. You just lost to Kansas. You barely beat UTSA the other week. Houston definitely has some question marks. And talking about some question marks, I have Wake Forest as well. They do beat Liberty 37-36, but Sam Hartman, he did sling the ball, I will say that. But this rushing attack was not even close to impressive for this Wake Forest team. This defense was not really good as well. Liberty had the chance to come back, and they did. And Wake Forest, next week is going to be their big time to see if they are a legit threat to the college football world, as they do host Clemson. But as of right now, I'm going to take Clemson by 10+. Georgia looked absolutely lethal this week as they just obliterated South Carolina. As you saw my Georgia predictions when in the preseason, I had South Carolina in an upset, but South Carolina is going to have some tremendous question marks. You struggled versus Arkansas. I've got to talk about Arkansas too. You struggled this week versus Georgia. You even struggled versus Georgia State. And this South Carolina team has tons of question marks, and I'm just questioning this team overall. And like I said, just talking about Arkansas, they barely beat Missouri State 38-27. This game was a lot closer than the score does say. Missouri State was actually leading at halftime, but once we got to the fourth, KJ Jefferson and Raheem Sanders just went absolutely ballistic, and that's when Arkansas did pull away in this game. But after like a few really good weeks versus Cincinnati and South Carolina, this was not the best thing, and hopefully Arkansas does bounce back next week versus Texas A&M. LSU looked really good this week versus Missouri State. Mississippi State. Mississippi State did look like the better team throughout the first 2 quarters, but once the second half started, it looked like LSU's team. They scored 21 in the fourth. Great win for LSU as Brian Kelly does win his first SEC game. Penn State just went down to Jordan-Hare and just went crazy. The first half was pretty close, but after the second half, man oh man, Auburn stood no chance as Penn State did win this game 41-12. This game was absolutely crazy. Nick Singleton went crazy in this one as he is going to be a legit threat for every single college football team. Oklahoma defeated Nebraska 49-14. Mickey Joseph's first game was not really good. Oklahoma, in my opinion, is a top 5 team. Southern Illinois somehow, someway defeated Northwestern last night, 31-24. Major question marks with that Northwestern team. And Syracuse defeats Purdue at home, 32-29. Syracuse, in my opinion, should be a ranked team as well. And the final game I do want to talk about before I end this video has to be Cal versus Notre Dame, as Notre Dame finds a way to win this game 24-17. That last play was absolutely crazy. Cal had a chance to get a game-winning touchdown, but they didn't. Notre Dame survives, and Marcus Freeman wins his first game at Notre Dame. A few games before I end this video that I just want to bring up. Tulane defeats Kansas State in an upset, 17-10. UCLA barely defeats South Alabama, 32-31. Florida struggled versus South Florida. They have a big game next week. Florida did win this game, though, 31-28. But Florida has a big game next week versus Tennessee. And that is it. That is my week 3 recap. I'm sorry if this was a little sloppy and all over the place. This is my first time ever doing a recap like this. And also I'm kind of in a lot of pain with my broken elbows. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this week 3. And yeah, like always, like, share, subscribe, push the notifications on so you don't miss any of my videos. And like always, have a good day. Peace out.